Alright, so this is question 1 in the coordinate plane and slope worksheet. So you have here J, K, L, M, N, and you have coordinates there, and you have a coordinate plane that is just actually the first quadrant. So remember, whenever you plot coordinates, so the first one we have here is J, which is 3, 3, 3. Okay, always remember that the horizontal line is always your x coordinate, okay? And the vertical line, which is going up and down here, that's your y coordinate. Your question here, which is J3, 3, 3, your first number is always going to be your x coordinate, and your second number is going to be your y coordinate. So here it's 3, 3, so I'm going to go here to 3, so this is 0, 1, 2, there's 3, and then it goes to y3. So I want to go up to y3. So this is 1, 2, and 3. And this here is my j coordinate. Okay, next one is k, which is 0, 7. So first is the x, then the y. Okay, and the x is the horizontal, and then the y is the vertical. And you could remember that the y is the vertical because it has this little dip here in the letter, so you know that it's up and down. So we're going to go to x0, which is just here. This is where x is 0, and then we go to 7 for the y coordinate. So you go all the way up, and right here is 7, so I'll put a dot here, and that's my k. The next one is L, which is 1, 8. So x coordinate, y coordinate. So over here is the 1. And up here, 2, 8. And there's L. The first coordinate we have here is B, -7, 1. So remember that your first number that you see is going to be your x, and then the second number you see is going to be your y. So here I have to go to -7 on my x, so -7 is right here, okay? And then I have to go +1 for my y, so I'm going to go to right here, and that is my b coordinate. C is -5, -4, so again I'm going to go to -5 in my x coordinate, and then I'm going to go down to -4 for my y coordinate. Lastly, I'm going to do E, which is 7, -6. Okay, 7 is over here in the x coordinate, and go all the way down to -6. And there's my E. Alright, so this is for question 17. It's asking you to find the slope of the line through each pair of points. And the pair of points for number 17 is -12 and 11, and 14 and 2. Your first coordinate is always the x coordinate, and so is this one here. This will be your x coordinate. And your second coordinate is going to be your y. So this here is going to be a y. In order to distinguish this x for this coordinate and this x for this coordinate, you have to name them. So this is going to be, this here is the first x, so I'm going to make that x1. This is the first y, I'm going to make that y1. This here is the second x, I'm going to call that x2, and this one I'm going to call y2. The formula for a slope is always y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so now that I've labeled my x1s, y1s, x2s, y2s, all it is just plugging in the numbers for the formula. So y2, this here is my y2. So I'm going to put -2. Okay, I'm going to put that in brackets. Subtract by, what is y1? y1's 11, so I'm going to have 11 here. Okay, then x2, that's 14. I'll put that in brackets. Subtract by x1, which is -12. So I'm going to have here -12. Okay, I'm going to rewrite this out here. So I have negative 2 minus 11. So I have negative 2 minus 11. I'm just taking out my brackets. Over 14 minus 12. So when you see two minuses, remember that's going to change into a positive. There you go. So now I have negative 2 subtract by 11. That's going to be negative 13. 14 add by 12. That's going to be 26. Always remember to reduce if you can. So here I could notice that I could divide both sides by 13. Negative 13 divided by 13 is going to give me negative 1. 26 divided by 13 is going to give me 2. So my answer is negative 1/2. Alright, so here in number 18 I have 1 negative 9 and then 6 negative 12. So the first step that you have to do is always label your coordinates. So this guy here is going to be my x1. This is going to be then the y1. This is my second pair, so I'm going to make that x2, and I'm going to make this y2. Okay, and then again, the formula for slope is, let's write it out, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So let us plug in our known values here. So we have here y2 is negative 12. Put that in brackets, subtract by y1, which is negative 9. x2, which is 6. Put in brackets, subtract by x1, which is 1. Okay? Then remove your brackets here. So I have negative 12. Negative and negative will turn into a positive 9. Because remember in class we were looking at subtracting negatives, and you'd have to change this to a positive and then change this to a positive. So that's why it's now a positive. And then down here, oops, we have 6 subtract by 1. So this comes out to negative 12 added by 9, which is going to give me a negative 3. 6 subtract by 1, that's going to give me 5. And that's the easy answer, negative 3 over 5. Alright, so this is my very crude drawing that I've made for question 29. So here you have to also find the slope, and it actually gives you a line. So this is very similar to the ones that we were doing before. The only thing different is there's an extra step where you actually have to identify what coordinates are what. So looking at this very bad drawing, this coordinate down here is negative 1, negative 2, so the x coordinate is negative 2, and then my y coordinates fell 1, 2, 3, negative 3. Okay, now I'm going to identify this coordinate. This here is negative 1. We went this way, and then it's going to go 1, 2, positive 2. Okay, so all I did here was identify my coordinates. Now after you identify coordinates, similar to what you did previously, you just have to label them now. So I'm going to make this one here x1, and I'll make this one here y1. I could have made this one here x1 and this one y1, but I chose this one. So this one's going to be x1, y1. This then has to be x2, y2. Then writing out my formula for slope. And slope in math is shown as a letter M. So the formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So filling in, I have 2, put that in brackets, subtract by y1, which is negative 3, x2, which is negative 1, subtract by x1, which is negative 2. Taking out my brackets, I have 2, negative and negative. I have to change them both to positives. So I'm going to have here plus 3. Okay, well, I should change pens. And I have here negative 1 and negative 2, so I'm going to make them both positives. So I'm going to have here negative 1 add by 2. So my answer is going to be 2 plus 3, which is 5, and negative 1 plus 2, which is 1. So the answer is just 5. Alright, so I'm going to do here 41 and 44. So this one here looks super complicated, but actually it's one of the easiest one in the whole worksheet. So basically it's asking you to find the slope of this equation. So your slope is always with your x's. Okay, that's just the rule. So whatever number is beside the x is your slope. So right here I have y equals negative x subtract by 1. Remember, beside this x, even though we don't see it, is a negative 1. So my slope for this equation is just negative 1. Now, if we go to 44, which is y equals 6 over 5, add by plus 1, again, the slope is always with the x. Okay, so whatever number is next to the x is the slope. So here, my slope is just 6 over 5.